Okay, good evening, guys. Sorry about the technical difficulties. Tonight we're gonna go over all of our posting, and I'm actually gonna let Chelsea and Abrielle start, and then I'm gonna take your questions and finish them up here at the end. But I'm gonna fix the bottle real quick, so I'm gonna let them start, whichever one you want to.
Abs, you want to go? Do you want to start?
Sure. Okay. So, I just wanted to talk about, kind of basically finding your little groove, your mojo, your niche, whatever you want to call it, and tying in your content that you post on social media into whatever works for you. Basically what I like to tell girls who are people who, join our team and have never done network marketing, never really posted stuff on social media to, I guess you could say, promote it or sell it or share it with your Facebook. They don't really know how to post. And a lot of people like to immediately jump to Google or jump to Pinterest and use crazy stuff. And I am all for that because some stuff I come across as interesting, but at the same time, you have to think about how many people are actually doing the same thing that you just did, right? And I'm not huge on like algorithm things and stuff like that, but I'm not dumb to know if one person is using the same picture that I'm using, it's going to get lost somewhere and not everyone's going to see it, right? So what I like to say is like, look, let's get your point across the first couple days and let's tell people what you're doing, whether it's a live, whether it's in your story, whether it's just blatantly making a post like, this is what I'm doing, this is how I feel, whatever. But then I really want you to think about you for a second. I've said this probably before, and some people like to do it, and this is where this content calendar, how I came across the content calendar was by posting 5 or at least 5 passions of yours, right? So I want you guys to like think right now, like what are like the top 3 things or the top 5 things or however many things you can think of that you enjoy doing or that's about you, right? So for me, I love food. I'm an Army spouse. I'm a young mom. I am a part of obviously a network marketing business. I was before. And the last thing is probably I like to buy things. I don't know. So those are not my 5 passions, but those are different things that I enjoy doing, things about me, things that could turn into my passion. I mean, I love shopping. So, I opened up my own little boutique. I love food, so I'm constantly sharing new foods and new drinks. I'm an Army spouse. I constantly am sharing about that. So you really have to find like your top things that work for you and share them constantly, because that's what's going to help you connect with your Facebook audience. And when you start to grow your network over time, you're going to get a group of different people that are into you because you like to shop a lot, or into you because you like food, or into you because you are an Army spouse, or whatever it is. There's always going to be those group of people that attract to you and want to hear more from you and trust you easier, because now you're starting to talk about things that they actually can connect with you on that level too, right? So it's super simple. I remember, Teresa, I don't know if you're on here, I haven't scrolled through, but you said earlier, I don't want to keep posting about anxiety and something else all the time. Why not? Why not? That is something that you've struggled with. That's something that you've maybe overcome or you're dealing with. It's super common for how many people on here, just in the group, in the chat, have struggled with anxiety or have anxiety, whether it's social anxiety, whether it's just anxiety in general. I promise you, everybody's going to say they suffer from some sort, don't mind Gemma, some sort of anxiety. So share where you were before, share where you are now, share where you plan to be, because people want to see that growth within you. And it's not going to hurt you to keep constantly talking about it, because you can't beat yourself up, or you can't say, I'm going to stop posting about that because it's too much. No, that's who you are as a person. I really try, I haven't in a while, kind of sort of say, like, I really try to post about the life of being a military spouse and having to deal with deployments and having to deal with whatever a lot, because a lot of my friends list consists of other Army spouses, other military wives that can connect to me on that level as well, of being alone, being frustrated, dealing with long periods of times of their significant other being gone. So I really, really, really am serious when I say find like your top 3 things, your top 5 things, whatever, and every other day switch it up. And like I said, this is really how I found that content calendar, because a lot of the times what you could do Monday through Friday, if you can find 5 things that you're passionate about, Monday through Friday, pick each one for each day and post about it. And I'm not saying every single post be about that passion. I'm saying pick that topic, whatever the passion is, and one of your posts be directed to that. And if you want to keep doing every Wednesday, you're talking about anxiety, every Wednesday, every Wednesday, every Wednesday, because it's going to become a habit. And then you're going to see over time, if you continuing to talk about that, more people are going to start showing up on your timeline, on your post, on just focus on you in general, because they know that you're about to post something on Wednesday that's going to be about anxiety, whether it's bad or good or in the middle. And I have learned over time that people, like, they care about what you're selling, but they really do care. And I said this, I don't know what day I said this last time we had a Zoom. People don't really care about what you're selling. They care about what you are doing. That's why they're friends with you, I would hope. I mean, a lot of the times it's hard because we grow our network every day. We're constantly adding people every day. And I know for me, a lot of the times it is other network marketers that are trying to poach me. But in the meantime, when I'm adding people, I am genuinely trying to be their friend on social media, especially when they are coming from the groups that I'm in that I am becoming more into. I don't want them to think as soon as I add them or we become friends that I want you to buy my stuff. I mean, in the end, maybe I do, but at first, no, like there's something that connected between the two of us and I would love to be your friend. So look at it that way. It's like you're building, this is like a dating site. Post on your social media, on your Facebook, Instagram, what you would want someone if they were looking to date you. You're not going to go and talk about your Thrive all day long, because I promise you, my husband supports me 100%, but sometimes he's like, yo, Ariel, be in it, okay? Because every single person that comes over, they're like, they ask me, and I'm like, oh, you never heard of Thrive? And I'm just like talking to him. He's like, I'm taking his friends over because I'm talking to them about something that I'm doing. He'd be like, yeah, I guess she's pretty good at it. I'm like, don't try to play me. You know I'm good at it. Don't lie. But it's just super simple, guys. And Teresa, I'm going to bring her up again. She went live. So did Colby, about being authentic. And Teresa basically backed up Colby, and she shared how important it is and how she's realized how important it is to be real within yourself in what you're posting, because all that fake mumbo jumbo sale magazine article stuff is so like last year, and people are not dumb. You could probably hear dumber right now, but literally when you just kind of pull from what you know, which is you, it is going to come out like nothing. But when you're trying to figure out, like, oh my God, like I saw so-and-so's post, it's so good. How can I make that my post? You can't, because that's not who you are. You need to cuss a little bit if you like to cuss. Not have great grammar, because sometimes my grammar sucks because I'm not a spelling bee champ, grammar, whatever. Like, just be you. And I promise you, when you realize how important it is, people want to know more about you, your posts are going to come to you like, boom, like, and everybody says, oh, our girl's good at posting. No, I don't think I'm good at posting. I just know what I'm talking about, because when I'm posting, I'm talking about myself. And that might sound conceited. I'm not trying to be conceited. I'm just being 100% real, because I know myself. I don't know. I mean, I know some of you guys, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I can't be Jamie Pekka and post like Jamie Pekka, because I'm not Jamie Pekka. I can't post like I'm a millionaire, because I'm not a millionaire yet, but it's going to come. But that's all I wanted to say. I could keep literally going on and on and on and on. I'm going to let Chelsea talk and get my child.
Okay, so I'm going to just kind of go off of what Abrielle said about being authentic. And I really want to talk about, owning your story. And, we all have a different story. We all have, reason we're doing this and kind of where our, our passion and our purpose stems from. And I really want everybody to kind of sit back and take some time and think, why am I doing this? What will my story benefit, other people? How can I inspire other people, from where I've come from, where I know I'm going, how this has changed my life. Owning your story is huge. Whether you're, you have anxiety, or you've gone through divorce, or you have 3 kids, you're working a full-time job, you've dealt with abuse. I mean, whatever it is, everyone's going to have a different story. But the most amazing thing is you're the only one that has your story, that can tell your story, and that can be authentic about your story. And that's when you're going to really be able to connect with so many people. And especially if you're narrowing down your niche, just kind of like Abrielle talked about, those 3 to 5 things that really, describe you. If somebody was to look in a dictionary and look at your name, what's going to be there as your definition? Who are you? What are you about? What do you love? Start to think about that, when you're posting and growing your network, and maybe trying to get into different groups and, connect with different people. Because at the end of the day, and I know I put this in the chat, people are going to buy you before they buy the products. You need to build that trust with them and build a connection with them. And, if you're copy pasting posts and you're, taking all these things from other people, when you start to actually build a connection with somebody, you're not going to be the same person when you start talking, because they would have seen, one person on your timeline posting. And then when you get in a conversation with them, you're not going to be the same, and they're not really going to know what to think. So it's just so important to, to be yourself and just be authentic. No one's perfect at posting. Everyone has their different way. But people are going to know if it's really you, and if you're really being genuine, about what you're talking about, whatever it is you're talking about. And if Thrive has done amazing things for you and you're talking about that, people are going to know and realize that you're being real. You're not just, saying stuff to BS somebody. You really feel this way, and it's going to show. I know, like for me, a tip I also want to give is, a lot of us are, constantly going all the time. I like to brain dump, and like if I'm running around with Rylan or, playing around the house with him, I'm the person that randomly gets things in my head like, ooh, I need to post something about that, or ooh, I need to remember that. I have a note in my phone that is labeled post ideas. And there's over 200 notes within that folder for my posts and ideas. And that's where I write out all of my posts, and I can edit them and kind of brain dump and put stuff together. So I highly recommend doing something like that if you don't have an iPhone. I think Michaela uses Google Keep, which I don't know anything about, but I know that's where she keeps everything. So just finding something that, you can even voice message yourself, hey, I want to remember this. Or if you see like a good quote out somewhere, voice message yourself the quote if you want to use it later on. That way you always have it. I think it's really good to just constantly brain dump, because a lot of times when you go to sit down and make a post, you can't think of shit to say, for lack of a better word. I mean, you just can't. And so for me, I find I can go back to things that I've like scribbled down in a journal really quick, or jotted down in my notes, and be like, oh yeah. And I can remember that moment in time where I actually thought about it and what I was doing, and put something together that way. Another thing that really helps me too is, self-development is huge in coming up with things to talk about and to post. Because if you're not really pouring into yourself, your mind isn't growing. And I know for me, I pull a lot of things from different self-development that I've read or listened to, different sermons that I listen to, podcasts, things like that. So, just kind of keep in mind when you're listening to self-development, whether it's a book or, a podcast that's shared on the team page or in the chat, take something from that and how can you apply it to your life? Even a sentence. I know probably a couple of weeks ago I had watched a sermon and there was a sentence within that sermon that spoke to me. And I take notes during when I'm watching them, just so I can go back and refer to different things that really, stood out to me. And you can make a post surrounding one sentence. Why did it, really stand out to you? How did it impact you? How does it connect to you and your story and what you're going through? And, for me, I normally try and incorporate that statement within my post, but then I elaborate on it because I want people to know how I connected to that and, what I took away from it. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, you want your posts to impact somebody. Who are you speaking to? Whatever you're writing, you want it to impact somebody. Even if it's one person, you've done your job, in my opinion. If you impact one person with something you write, you're doing your job. So that's something huge, just to constantly be doing self-development. And I know we have it as part of our IPAs, but sometimes, and I'm guilty of this too, I can put on a podcast and then I tune it out and I don't really absorb it. So I normally have to go back and listen to it again when I can take the time and have quiet time and really absorb what's being talked about or said, so I can brain dump during it and have the things to go back to refer to. Another really good source to come up with posts for me personally is Pinterest. And I more so am looking for quotes, and I don't just throw the quote up. Sometimes I will. I mean, if it's just something that I'm like, somebody needs to hear this, and I'm going to throw it up on my page. But a lot of times, I go on Pinterest. I have a full board on Pinterest that is just quotes. And I will scroll Pinterest for, 10 to 15 minutes here and there and save, and then I can go back. Whatever quote speaks to me that day and kind of how I'm feeling, I'm going to start to type that quote out. And then I feel like everything else just kind of comes to me. Because when you really connect with, a quote, if it really goes in line with maybe something you're struggling with that day or that month or that week, something you really connect with personally, I feel like when you start to write it out on your own, you just kind of are able to keep going with it and really get your feelings out. And it's okay to do that. And that's when you're going to be able to kind of be vulnerable and really come off authentic, because you really kind of just start to let out your feelings in a post. And I know for me, being prompted with something helps me. And that's why I've really loved journaling and the journal I use, because it prompts me. I'm not very good with just going in and writing stuff down. I need something to kind of be there to get me going. So that's another idea. And, I know kind of like Abrielle said, you can see people post something and be like, God, I love that. Do not copy and paste it, because they're not your words. There is nothing wrong with taking inspiration from something somebody posts. There's nothing wrong with that. But to literally highlight it, copy it, paste it, and make it yours, one, is disrespectful to the person who spent the time to come up with it. Two, is going to mess up not only your algorithm, but their algorithm, because now it's posted twice on two different feeds. And three, it's not you. You didn't write that. You didn't come up with that. There's nothing, written that you can stand behind and say, that was me. That's exactly how I feel. Because it's not, because you didn't write it. But if you can take a post that somebody writes and be able to say, you know what, I feel that, but really this is kind of how I feel, and tweak it, make it how you feel. And that way you've taken inspiration from somebody, but you're not taking their thoughts, their words, you're taking the inspiration from it. And there's a big difference in that. I know we talk about copy pasting all the time. Just don't do it. That's all I can say. Don't do it. You're not benefiting yourself at the end of the day. I mean, you're really not. You're not benefiting your business. That's not how you are going to ever personally grow, by copy pasting. How you're going to grow is when you start to do the work yourself and start to pour into yourself and start to really own your story and tell your story and really show that passion that you have for where you've been, where you are going, where you are right now. That's really where, you're going to start to have that connection with people. And, I think too, and I just want to touch on this, when we start out new, we have this warm market, and, when we start talking about stuff, we have all of these people that, have trust in us, that are going to, kind of already have that connection with us. But when you're adding to your network and you fly through a warm market, you have to be sure that you've been yourself from day one, because that cold market that's coming in doesn't know you. They've never talked to you before. They've never met you before. And they need to know that you've been yourself since day one. So you don't just run out of your warm market and then there's nobody, because you haven't built trust with anybody else. You haven't been yourself with everybody else that you've been adding to your network. So I just want everybody to keep that in mind, that you should be growing your network daily. And when those people that are in your warm market have either all bought from you or are still not ready to support you, you're going to have to rely on those people in your cold market to, have that connection and trust with you, so your business continues to grow. So just always remember to stay authentic to who you are, no matter what. It doesn't matter what your story is. I guarantee you there's somebody on the face of this planet that is going to connect with it. Because, I can give an example for me. Growing my network, I am meeting with a girl in my town tomorrow who is a single mom with a 2-year-old little girl. We connected on Instagram. I found her on Instagram. I added her. She looked at my page and realized this girl's in Austin, and she messaged me. We had known each other for 2.5 seconds, but I was able to talk to her and relate to her because of stuff I had already shared on my page that was in my stories. We live 5 minutes from each other, guys. And I'm about to have a new friend in my town. She's a single mom. She's not network marketing. She knows nothing about it. She knows nothing about what I actually do. I'm not trying to sell her, but it's a new connection for me. And because I know that I've been completely genuine on my page every single day from day one about who I am and, my life and my experiences, I can go into tomorrow, be myself, talk like myself, be myself. Wear my DFT. If she asks about it, I can tell her what it is because I've never hidden it before. So I just want everybody to always be authentically you, because it's going to attract so many people to you. And if you're not in front of the right network of people right now, start changing the people that, you're adding, because, that's a struggle I've been through. Is I went through a time where I don't feel like I was in front of the right market. And if you're not, your story isn't going to impact everybody. I wish it would, but it won't. So you kind of have to narrow down who is your market. Who are you going to be able to make those connections with? And, if you're talking about, being a mom and you're adding, I don't know, college girls, you don't really have that connection because they don't have kids. They don't know what that life is like. It's two totally different things. Now, that doesn't mean that a college girl won't join you. That's not what I'm saying. But if you want to have the best possibility of making an impact on somebody, be sure you're connecting with moms and even narrow it down further, moms that, you know, like Abrielle, she's an Army wife, she's a mom. You know, a good niche for her is moms that are either Army wives or in the Army, because she has that connection. For me, it's moms, but single moms. I really try to find other single moms to add to my network. So, you know, take some time whenever you can, if you haven't before, you know, write down kind of a broad niche for yourself and then narrow it down. You know, what can you really narrow down your niche to? If you're a dog mom, okay, perfect. What kind of dog do you have? Narrow it down. If, you know, if you work full time, you know, what industry are you in? Okay, maybe narrow it down to your city, maybe narrow it down to your company, maybe narrow it down, you know, something that will really kind of make those personal connections. But I think really that's all I had as far as posting goes. And I think Michaela is going to finish up with the questions that were put in the chat. And then if anybody else thought of any other questions during this Zoom, throw them in the chat here. So we can go over them too, because we don't want anybody to leave this Zoom, you know, with questions that, you know, just don't get answered. So I'll let Michaela jump in.
Okay, sorry guys, that was crazy in the beginning. My kids are on one tonight. But I think Abs and Chelsea honestly did an awesome job covering everything. The one thing I want to add in is it's so important to spark interest and not put it all out there. And an example I heard one time was, if you go on a first date with a guy and you put it all out there and you tell him about your schizophrenic dad and your psycho ex-boyfriend and your crazy, you know, father and whatever, like you just go on and on, he's going to look at you like you're nuts. He's going to try to get out of that date as quick as possible, and he's not going to call you back. It's the same thing with a post. If you put up a post and you say, and these are my 3 steps. Step 1, you take your capsule. Step 2, you take your shake. Step 3, you slap on your DFT, and it does A, B, and C. They're going to feel so overwhelmed. You just gave it all away, and they're just going to like stop, unfollow, stop paying attention to you. So something you could do instead is spark the interest of them. Spark interest. So instead of saying, you know, these are my 3 steps, this is what I do, 5 days coffee free, hashtag you need this. Anybody who knows you and knows, like, okay, for example, one of the chats I'm in, this girl put in there that one of her customers used to drink 3 pots of coffee a day. Y'all, that would make anybody sick. But if everybody that knows her knows that she drinks 3 pots of coffee a day, and you're known for drinking a lot of coffee a day, and you put in your caption, 3 days coffee free, people are going to be like, what in the heck? Like, what are you doing? I need that because you still seem normal, and I know how you were before. So just spark interest. Today I put up a post, and I said almost 2 years ago, I started my business from this table while being a mom, a hairstylist, and dealing with a lot of life. While thankfully a lot has changed since then, some things never will. So many people reached out to me off that post and was like, wait, what exactly do you do? Even though I post about it every day, not every 19,000 person that follows me sees my post every day. Not every 2,000 people that follow Chelsea see her post every day, and so on and so forth. So it's so important to continue to put it out there. And so many people that have never voted on a poll, never liked anything, never commented, they reached out to me. So I just think that that's really important. That's just part of law of attraction. So when you get free time, go on Pinterest, go on YouTube, search law of attraction, search sparking interest by posting. I mean, really anything like that's going to give you a ton of ideas and more information on it. Now let me pull up the questions. Okay, so the first question said, I sometimes am afraid to overpost, not just about Thrive, but about life in general. I think you need to do what feels right for you. I think do what's comfortable, what you would be doing before if you weren't selling Thrive. Personally, maybe add 1 or 2 in. I post 1 time a day on my page, but in my stories, I will post 6 to 20 times. I mean, just depending on the day. I will post my kids. Today I posted us at the lake and at the park, but I also post my shake while I'm taking it in the morning. Do I say, this is my Lavella lifestyle mix? No, but it might just be a picture of me shaking up my blender bottle. Something so simple. So I think for you, you just have to find that comfortable balance of what's natural for you. Because like Chelsea and Abs were saying, if it's not natural, people are gonna notice. Go, Abrielle, go. I see you.
Right. Sorry, I'm just gonna say real quick. But the thing is, if you're not posting, that's the problem. Because
if you're not posting, your business is not open.
yes, that's like what I'm trying to say. So like, yes, Michaela said, if you didn't post, like for me, I think there's a question coming up and I'll re-say it again or whatever. But like, I literally try to post like at least the max every 4 hours or 2 to 4 hours. And that's just how I am. That's just, I've always been like super, super big on social media, or Facebook at least. I'm not on Instagram. I know Instagram, you don't need to be posting that many times, but for me on Facebook and my audience, I feel like sometimes I like to see my face every couple hours, but that's how I was. But if you are new to network marketing or new to something like this, and you're not putting yourself out there in the right way, which is like we're saying with your passions, your experience posting, like, you know, your experience in the past and posting it that way, you need to be posting more than just once or twice a day. Like, oh, here's my thrive. I love taking it. Here's this and that. And then boom, you're done. And we don't see you till the next day. That is not going to work. And don't come to us when you're still in the same position you were 2 months ago if you're not posting or you're not growing yourself like we said. We're not saying don't post, but step it up a little bit. Or if you think you're over posting, maybe just slow it down, break it up. But that's what I'm going to say, and then I have to get my kids in.
Sorry. The next question was, I struggle with finding things to post about, and I think Chelsea did a real good job going over that. That's when you need to be pouring into yourself more. If you have nothing you feel like to post about, up your self-development. I want you to double it. Whatever you're reading, if you're reading for 15 minutes, read for 30. If you're listening to 30 minutes of podcast, do an hour. Find the time. Because when you're pouring into yourself, that comes naturally. I've noticed a big difference in that in myself. I've noticed that with everybody. The other thing, too, is like they said, look around for inspiration. Don't copy and paste, but take inspiration. See what else is out there. See what other people are posting about. Sometimes if I really am just like in a rut, I will go to Pinterest. Like Chelsea said, I'll go to Pinterest. I'll look at quotes. I'll look at just different things that inspire me. I'll read articles, listen to videos. So I think that that's where personal development comes huge in. Does anybody have anything they want to add on that?
No, I mean, I pretty much.
Okay.
And I just, like, for me too, I have a lot of interaction actually on quotes when I throw them in my stories. And that's literally me taking the image from Pinterest and putting it in my stories. But I'm also a very active person on Instagram, and Instagram is run very differently than Facebook is. And you can't just be throwing up 50 quotes on your Instagram feed and it, you know, do wonders for you. But I feel like people like to see those types of things when they're in their stories and scrolling, and then just something positive pops up out of nowhere. I actually tend to get a lot of interaction on my quotes that I post, even if it's like an emoji or yes, or I love this, or I needed this. So, you know, that's something to think about too, to kind of boost your interaction if you're an Instagram user. You know, throwing quotes up in your stories here and there. And I actually have a full highlights on my page, on my Instagram page, that is like inspirational quotes, and I highlight all of them. But
that too, with what Ab said, think of your things. What are you? Like for me, I'm a mom. Like people know that I am obsessed with Chick-fil-A. People know that, you know, for Chelsea, I think of Target and I think of Chelsea. Like literally. Like, so find your things, and those are the things to talk about too that will help you. We got honestly a lot of those two questions. I got a ton of those. The next one, I actually think that this is the last one that's different, is it says, how do I get over thinking I'm annoying when I'm posting? Okay, if you feel that way when you send the post out, that's how it's going to come across. Your vibration will go, I don't even know how to explain that unless you're really woo-woo-y and into like law of attraction and just the law of the universe, but your vibe will go out there. So if you're thinking that, that's how it's going to present itself. But also reread your post back to you. Is that something that would annoy you if you came across it, or is it something that would inspire you? That's the difference. That's how you know. If that post, that you made, like I always will write my post out my notes, and then I'll rewrite it, and then I'll rewrite it again, and then I'll send it to Abrielle or to Chelsea or somebody, Kristen, and I'll say, hey, reread this. If it doesn't feel quite right yet, something's off. Will you reread it? What should I change? What's your opinion on this? Find somebody and do that with them. Do it with me. Do it with, whoever. But sometimes just that little tweak of me sending it to one of the girls and being like, look, something on this just doesn't feel like it's ready to go up yet. They'll be like, oh, just add this, or you should take this part out or change your wording here. That can make a whole world of difference for you. That's been huge, but really the main thing is your goal is to add value. So before you put it up, reread it. Does it inspire you or does it annoy you? And that's your answer. But those are all the questions. Does anybody have anything else that they want to add?
I mean, and two, it's just like what I said last week when we did the content calendar. Is it useful? Is it informative? Is it entertaining? Is it adding to you and your brand? It's super simple. If it's not doing none of that, then yeah, it might be annoying. No, I'm kidding. But I mean, just like Michaela just said, like if you think that it's dumb or you're not good enough or whatever you might be thinking, like you're just going to go through this whole entire journey feeling that way, and everything you do, that's exactly how it's going to present itself. And that's where a lot of the self-doubt and a lot of the stuff that I talk about comes from, because that used to be me. Like, I didn't think I could do something like this. I didn't think that I could do half the things that I'm doing, but that's because I was literally telling myself I can't do it. And so I started believing myself that I can't do it. So then when I finally figured out and realized oh, okay, yes, I can do it, everything just started to align and everything else just kind of fell into place. And I was going to say, whenever Chelsea was talking too, I can't remember what she said, but I share a lot of past experiences on my posts because that's where I grew from. That's where I learned so much that I know now, and how I can feel or come off to being inspiring or whatever is because that really happened to me. Like, I really went through that stuff. I really did suck at network marketing or, this business or whatever you want to call it. I really did suck, guys. I'm not kidding. So when I share, this was, I went from this to that, and now I can do this and that. I'm not doing it. I've said it before. I don't post to brag or boast myself. I post because I'm proud of where I was and where I am now. And I'm happy to share because I know what it feels like to feel like I can't do things and I didn't think I could do things. So now that I can, I realize that every single one of you on this Zoom can actually do something. If you just start limiting yourself, it'll literally, you're hurting yourself. And it's crazy because I was looking at this, I literally have my dream board right here in front of me, and I just realized I can cross off one of my dreams, and I didn't even know. It says luxury car bonus. Got my car bonus. Use auto bonus for hubby's dream car.
You did that last week.
What is life? And it's, you guys think it's dumb, but I'm literally oh shoot, you know what I'm saying? So when you believe in yourself and you believe in what you're putting out there and you believe in your brand, your product, your team, everything.
It's so true. And I feel like I know that's one of the things I talk about all the time is you have to believe that you are worthy of the things that are on your dream board.
Yeah.
You have to believe you're worthy. If you're putting something down on paper, but you don't believe it, or you don't really feel worthy of it, then how do you ever expect the universe to align with you and for things to happen?
Yeah.
I still haven't checked this right here. Where is it? This is be home full time. I still haven't checked it off.
Be what?
But I did it. Be home full time.
Oh, I thought you said something else.
No. March 1st, as of March 1st, I'm home full time. So there's one. I have multiple things on here, but I believe all of them can come true. And that doesn't mean it's going to happen overnight, but it's the belief in yourself. You have to believe what you're writing down and what you want, what your goals and your dreams are, that you're worthy of them. You truly believe that they will come into your life.
Yep.
You have to truly believe that within, not just saying, yeah, I believe it, but do you truly believe it?
Yeah. And I think us incorporating the whole manifestation, like, or affirmations like that. I don't know about y'all, but I'll really be waking up and telling myself a lot of crazy things.
Well, once you start,
it like really makes you,
it lights a fire.
Yeah, it really makes you feel like way better about yourself in so many different ways. And people might think it's dumb. Like, I know people probably think I'm crazy when I talk to myself, but I'm literally pumping myself up. I'm literally motivating myself because nobody, I mean, yeah, I have all of you guys to keep me going, but personally, me, nobody's going to motivate myself unlike myself. Like, I'm the only person that can do all things that I want to do. If that makes sense. So,
and once you start to cross something off of it,
gonna keep going.
It just keeps going because you start to believe in yourself more and more and more. And the thing too is, like she was saying, you have to have that belief and that confidence, and you're holding yourself back. I'm not going to say who wrote that question, but the person who wrote this, since the day they started it, you know who you are. I literally have been telling people all around me that, like, I wish I could shake you. And there's so many people on here like this. Like, if I could shake you and you could see what you are capable of, because I see it all the time. I see what you're totally capable of. But if you saw it,
yes.
Chelsea knows who it is. She knows because it's on her downline. And if you saw what you are capable of, mountains would be moved. It would be the craziest thing.
I'm just going to agree because I don't know.
The Red Sea would part for you, girl. The Red Sea would part for you.
But there's so many people. Every time I see you guys and I see you guys doing this, I just want to shake you every time you have and we all have self-doubt. I have self-doubt. Everybody has self-doubt. But when I see it, I'm like, no, like, you are so capable.
Yeah. But let me add this too.
Are.
Because she knows that we're talking about her. I'm not going to say her name.
Okay, I just put two into
I'm not going to say her name. If she wants to call herself out, then she can. But the change in just, has it been a year? I don't know exactly.
Yeah, it was right before conference last year.
Change, just seeing her incorporating, you know, the self-development and coming out of her shell and getting more confident with posting has been amazing to watch. And there's still that hump that me and Michaela are waiting to happen that you get over. Because when you get over that hump of that final, like, believing that you are capable and that you are amazing at what you do and you have it in you, you're going places. But you have to get to that place within yourself where it's like, I freaking believe I'm going to do this because I know I'm damn worthy and it's going to happen. And you know that it doesn't come overnight. We know that, but that's, you know, pouring into yourself and really taking in, you know, what other leaders on this team are telling you, and, you know, the side conversations that we have, you know, it's everything that we say. I mean, it's completely authentic. Like, we're not here to BS you and to tell you that, you know, you can be something we really don't truly believe you can be. But I mean, it's just been like, stuff like that is why I love, you know, this industry and doing this as my job, because you truly get to watch people change in front of your eyes.
Yeah.
The belief in themselves, the confidence, just everything. And it is one of the most amazing
the best part
things of this job. It really is.
And honestly, I can say too, like the last probably year, really less than a year, whatever, like, it's hard to notice, but like every single day or every single week or every single month, I feel like at least one or two of you guys, and I know there's not a ton of people on here right now, but I've noticed that every single new beginning, new fresh start, even whether it's a new week, a new month, whatever, like I said, somebody is realizing something about themselves that they didn't realize before. And it's like Chelsea said and Michaela said, it's literally like, Teresa, me and you've had a heart-to-heart, 2 weeks ago? We talked about it, and I literally told you the same thing that they're saying to the girl. I'm not going to say her name. You have to believe in you have so much potential. Me and Cassandra had heart-to-heart. Stephanie's not on here right now because she needed a little mental break because she's literally doing things that everybody can do, but she like literally asked me a question that was so deep, and I told her, and she was like, you just don't understand. Like, I am so grateful for this opportunity because people are realizing so much about themselves they didn't even know before, just by, like Chelsea said, believing in yourself and showing up and doing what you need to do. And yes, it takes people some time, but it makes me happy to see everyone else finally like putting the little and everyone's like,
the light bulb's clicking on.
Yeah, everyone's like, oh shit, like I'm actually good enough. I'm like, Chelsea said, you're worthy. You're so worthy of so much, and it takes a while to realize, but just know, ain't nobody gonna put you down but yourself. That's all.
That's true. You know, and the thing too with other people's opinions is you're so worried about them, but 99% of other people are so worried about themselves, they don't care about you. So their opinions don't matter. Just to be honest, they're so wrapped up in their own heads that like.
Yeah.
Literally just learned that today.
We must have read the same status.
Yes.
All right. Does anybody have any last minute questions? There are going to be some changes coming up real quick to go over. There won't be a Sunday Zoom on Easter, obviously for obvious reasons, but I just wanted to make that clear. That one's not even being rescheduled. Just enjoy your family. And I hope everybody has a good night. Bye, guys.
Bye.